Today, we're going to be painting songbirds. And we're going to draw our songbirds on sheet music. That's paper that has music notes printed on it, so musicians can play the right notes for the songs that they're trying to learn. I found some sheet music in a book called We Sing Children's Songs that I found at a thrift shop. Somebody was getting rid of all these old songbooks and they didn't want them anymore, so I wanted to save them to cut the pages out of the sheet music to use for art. But if you can't find any books at the thrift store like that, you can always print sheet music off of the computer, or you can just do this project on regular paper too. So I've cut out some songs that have the music notes on them, and I'm going to draw some little birds on here for my songbirds. But this paper is a little bit different than regular paper. It's much thinner. So I don't want my Sharpie and my paint to bleed through onto my desk. So I'm going to use some scratch paper. Remember, scratch paper is paper that you're not going to keep. You're just going to recycle it at the end of your project. So I have some scratch paper here to protect my table. So I'm going to start with my Sharpie because I'm going to paint my songbirds. I don't want my drawings to get washed away by my watercolor paints. So I'm going to draw right on the music notes like here. And I'm going to make my bird with really simple shapes. So I'm going to make a circle for my body. And I'm going to make my bird looking sideways, I think. So maybe I'll make the beak going out like this. And then I'll give one eyeball because the other eyeball's on the other side of the face. And maybe his eyelid is down and he's singing his best notes, so he's looking at his song going out into the world. If he was sideways, you'd see his little tail feathers, so I'm going to make little ovals coming down behind him. And maybe I'll put a little bit of feathers up on his head for his hair. I'm not going to draw any legs yet. I'm going to do that at the end. So I'm going to leave this one all done. But I might put more than one songbird in my tree, so I'm going to get another little piece of sheet music here, and I'm going to draw another songbird, but maybe this one's going to be looking at me. So I'm going to draw another big circle. And then the beak would be an upside down triangle on the middle of my circle like that. Maybe this songbird has her eyes closed, so I'll do some little rainbow shapes, and maybe I could even give a little bit of eyelashes there. If she's facing me, maybe you could see her wings too, so she might have her wings coming out. I'll make a little U shape and then a bigger U shape coming down. And maybe I'll give her some feathers on top of her head too. Remember, I'm going to save the legs for the end. So I have two songbirds here. I think that's how many I can fit in my tree, so I'm ready to paint them. I'm going to paint right on top of my sheet music. So I'm going to just decide, what kind of colors should my songbirds be? Maybe I'll make this little guy a bluish green color. So I'll get out some water and some watercolor paints, and I'll start painting him. There, my songbirds are all painted in. Now, I'm going to put those on the side and let them dry. And then I'm going to draw a little tree and paint a tree for them to live in. I'm going to use a little half piece of paper to do my tree. But if you want to draw more songbirds, you can use a bigger piece of paper to paint your tree and your background on. So I'm going to start by drawing the trunk of the tree. And you won't see a lot of it because it's just a small piece of paper. And it's not going to be super straight either. It's going to look all bumpy like the bark of a tree. And then on the bottom, I'm going to draw another kind of wavy, bumpy line for the tree branch. And I'm going to do another line on the bottom just so you can tell the shape of it. I'm going to make the textures of my tree showing through. So I'm going to give some little lines and bumps and circles on my tree branch here. I'll do the same thing on the trunk of the tree too, but there might be some swirls on the tree and there might be other little lines coming down to show the texture of my tree here. I'm also going to draw some little lines coming out of the branch and then put a little football or lemon shape on the top to make it look like little leaves are growing out of the branches. So it's a little line with a curvy rainbow shape and another curvy rainbow shape on the other side. And I can make them coming down off the bottom too. I don't want to do too much because my songbirds are going to take up most of the room. But now I'm ready to paint it. I'm going to paint my tree brown and my leaves green, and then I'm going to give some nice blue for the sky to show that it's a beautiful spring day for my songbirds to sing their songs. There, my tree branch and my background are all painted. I'm going to let this dry while I cut out my songbirds and then glue them on the tree and add in the legs. All right, my birds and my tree have dried, and I cut my birds out with a really tight bubble around them. I wanted to still see some of the sheet music behind them, but if you wanted to cut right on the black line of your drawing, you could do that too. I also see that some of my paint has bled out of the lines, and I really like it when it does that. But if you don't like that, then all you need to do is wait for your other colors to dry a little bit before you start with a new color. But since I painted the sky and the leaves and my beak and my feathers right at the same time, all the colors were wet and they kind of blended together. But I really like that. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to glue my birds onto my picture, and I'm going to leave some room between my bird and the branch for their legs. So I'm going to get out my sheet or my scrap paper again, and I'm going to scooch this over so I have enough room to glue my bird on there. And remember, this paper is very thin, so I'm just going to really carefully draw my glue on there. I'm going to just push it on the outsides. I'm not going to be scraping my glue back and forth. I'm just going to push to the outside. That's why I want to do this on my scratch paper, so that I don't get glue everywhere on my artwork. And then maybe he'll go over here on the side to leave enough room for his friend on the other side of the branch. Okay, now I'm going to glue this little guy. All right, so I'll give some spot on my scratch paper there with no glue. Okay, I'm going to grab my Sharpie now, and from my drawing to the branch, I'm going to draw my bird legs. So I'm just going to do a straight line down all the way to the branch like that. If you want to add some little bird toes, you can do that too. But since I have so many details on my branch, I'm just going to leave the straight lines like that. I really like it. But if you want to add 3 little bird toes for your feet, you can do that too. If you'd like to draw some music notes in the sky coming next to your bird's beak, you just start with a circle, and you can give a little line, and then do some little U shapes. You can even connect it and color it in too if you want to. There's a lot of ways to draw music notes. You can also do a double music note, where you draw a line down, a line across, and another line down, and then you put circles on the ends of those. And you can even draw a line across like that. And there's just lots of little squiggles and rests and other little things in music that you could draw next to your songbird in the sky. There we go. We're all done. I hope you had fun painting with me today. Thanks for watching.